Hey folks, it's Dr. Rowe. Hope you're well. Getting a bit wrapped up in my jumper. It's getting cold out there, isn't it? I'm recording this and it's kind of wintry out there. So, really quick message actually. I wanted to talk about this subject because it's been coming up a lot more recently, and I've been doing events where I'm teaching people where we're getting more people of the middle age right through to sort of people in their 60s, even 70s, just recently. Not to say we haven't had people that are younger, but there's been an interesting transition just in recent certainly in the last 6 to 8 months. And a question that comes up from people is, what would be good strategies to do in property based on the age that I'm at now? Which actually is quite a good question, but it begs other questions from me to you. Now, when I started investing in property, I was like 34, 35, something like that. That was it was actually 20 years ago this year, come to think of it, my very first property, as I'm recording this now. So I'm 35 now, coming up to 36, so it's that kind of time frame. And when I started, I had a different set of circumstances in my life, both financially, emotionally, and just where I was. I didn't have kids. Whereas now it's a very, very different journey for me, having 2 children. And that's another play out as well. But actually the question is more geared towards an answer that's strategic to you based on how you perceive your property journey. So I'm going to put 4 points up here, and it's worth just taking a moment to watch this, because I think for a lot of people, they get carried away with watching strategy, and we talk a lot about that when we're teaching people. And often they're so focused on strategy, or strategy, if you want me to pronounce it properly, as a strategy, as opposed to stepping back and asking more meaningful questions about their lives. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're under 30, your circumstance will be different to somebody 30 to 40, different to somebody 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70. And yes, we do get people over 70 come through and want to invest. The first and most important question, I guess, is how much time do you have? So write this question down. If you're young and you've got a lot of time, and for you can see this map of the world for the next 20, 30, 40 years, and you actually got a lot of time availability, great. You might be, on the other hand, I don't know, mid to late 30s into your 40s, you've got a very busy career, maybe you're managing kids and a family, and so time is more restricted. And then you might equally be somebody maybe in that sort of 40, probably 50 to 60 mark and above, where actually kids have grown up, they're not so much around now, you're in that kind of part of your career where it's leveled off a bit, and you feel you've got time and some capital there, so you could get into the property portfolio and get going. Or it might be the opposite. You actually want to put time in, but then step back out of it again. So that's the first question, is how much time do you have and how much time do you want to put into your property business? Critical question. And that will be affected by a career and an age situation as well. Secondly, how much capital do you have? So if you're starting out, your strategies for somebody who's got very little money are going to be more creative type, things like lease options, rent to rent type strategies. And if you don't know how that works, just come and find out more about it when I'm teaching this. But remember, for you to do any of these strategies, for example, rent to rent or lease options, you've got to be more hands-on. So it's more involvement, but less capital. Whereas somebody that's got a lot of capital, I know, 500,000 sat there, they could be slightly less hands-on, use a sourcing agent or somebody that they know that's qualified and educated enough to find them properties and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. person that finds me properties, sourcing agent, excuse the clicks that are going on there. Could you help me out? Could you find these deals for me? Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to switch that off on my phone, otherwise it's going to keep pinging on my computer. That's another consideration. So age, time, capital, lots of capital, great. You might be capital rich and want to put lots of time in. You might be capital rich and actually don't have a lot of time. So depending on where you are in your age and your career and all the other ambitious things that you've got going on, another ping from my phone, that's a big one. Third thing is, let's change that. That's interesting. All right, well, excuse me. I've got a toot. That's a mistake there, isn't it? It's security. So do you want to build your portfolio in such a way that you want really hands-off? Maybe a social housing type strategy or a government contract type strategy, guaranteed rent, where you say, right, I'm at the age right now where I just want really solid security. I'm prepared to take an asset, buy it, be hands-off, don't want to put a lot of time into it, and just have maybe 5 to 7 years of guaranteed rent. Now, I meet people of an older age group that tend to like the idea of that because they don't want to be going out and massively, actively doing this and getting involved there and scaling this up and buying this and doing this and buying this portfolio. Maybe there's slightly more semi-armchair type approach. Okay, so that's something to consider as well. Is do you want to go down that route? You could be hands-on, you could be hands-off, you could have somebody find deals for you. And so you've got to think about where you are in your age and how that works. So for example, I have people that are angels that actually have capital. They like the idea of putting money into something to do with investments, but they don't want to do it themselves. They just want to get a return, some sort of return on that money. And so that's what they do. They put the money in and they get the security of that. So that's another way of people taking advantage of property. And then, of course, is the involvement question, which is, boo, I want to be swimming in property. I want to find them, talk to people, do options and rent to rent. I want to get hands-on with the builders. I want to meet people, go raise money, get out, look at lots and lots of projects. I love it, totally involved. And that might be somebody who's younger, more enthusiastic and got more time and more passionate for it. Whereas somebody maybe who's, 60, 65 years of age says, as I said above, I've got the capital in my number 2 above there, which I do need to change, don't I? I could actually change it right in front of you by doing this and then editing it here, changing it here, changing it to 3, just to show you how. And for those of you that do any of the stuff on communication that I teach, you'll know it's all right. Sometimes you make mistakes, but no problem. Look at that. It's changed and it's all operational. So this is a great question. Look at how much time you want to put into the business and then ask yourself the question, how involved do I want to be? You might be really good at finding deals, but the rest of it you're not so good at, i.e. you don't want to manage the projects, you don't want to do the administration, so you palm or pass on the administration to somebody who's really good at it and you pay them for that. The project manager could be a business partner, or it could be a builder, whatever, but your skill is finding those deals. It could be the other way around. You get somebody that helps you with the deal side, but you're really good at the numbers. Actually, another element actually is the numbers and analysis and the structuring of the business. So ask yourself a sensible question based on where I'm in my life right now. Do you want to be more hands-on or more hands-off? My first 5 years, I was very involved with the business in terms of going out and doing lots of different aspects of it. Whereas now it's more strategic and my involvement is more at the higher level, positioning things and saying, right, this is what I need to do. And then I get the team involved to help do that. And that's great because of where I'm in my life and my career and other projects I've got going on around me. These are really important considerations to think about now so that the minute you dive into property as a business, you don't spiral down one route to say, this doesn't really feel how I want it to feel. And then you realize it's because you haven't made these considerations. Okay, hopefully that was useful. I shall sign out and see you on the next post. Oh, remember to follow us. Follow me, go to the Facebook page, go to the YouTube channel, go to Instagram and thumbs up and do whatever you have to do or comment on below in this particular post. See you again on the next one.